All right, today we are diving into something truly fascinating. We're looking at that sweet spot where ancient spiritual practices and cutting edge modern neuroscience actually meet. We're going to explore how something as timeless as Islamic meditation might just be the tool we need to, well, reprogram our modern super stressed out brains for more peace, more focus, and just overall well being. So let's get right into it.
So let me ask you this. In our crazy, hyper-connected world, do you ever feel like your mind is just always on? We're constantly fighting off stress, we've got endless distractions pulling at us, and emotional triggers everywhere. It can seriously feel like our own brains are working against us, keeping us stuck in the state of high alert. But what if there was a way to actually train it to work for us instead?
Well, it turns out that modern science is finally starting to catch up with what spiritual traditions have known for literally centuries. Neuroscientists are taking a serious look at an ancient solution for mental clarity and peace. And you know what? The results they're finding are pretty incredible. Okay, so at the very heart of all this is a practice called Dhikr. Now, what is that? It's the focused and often rhythmic remembrance of God, usually by repeating sacred names or phrases. It's a core practice in Islamic meditation. And as we're about to see, that rhythm, that's absolutely key to how it affects our brains. And working right alongside Dhikr, you have Tafakkur. Think of this as the other side of the coin. This is the practice of deep contemplation or reflection. So while Dhikr is all about that focused repetition, Tafakkur is about engaging your mind to really ponder deeper meanings, whether you're looking at scripture, at nature, or even just your own life. So how in the world does this all work? Let's peel back the layers and get into the actual science of how these ancient practices can literally rewire the physical structure of your brain. First up, let's talk about the prefrontal cortex. You can think of this area as the CEO of your brain. It's the boss, in charge of things like focus, planning, and making good decisions. Well, practices like Dhikr and mindful prayer are like taking your brain's CEO to the gym. It strengthens this area, making it way better at filtering out all those distractions. You're basically training your brain to stay in the present moment. Next up, we've got the amygdala. This part is kind of like your brain's super sensitive emotional alarm system. It's what controls fear and our reactive fight or flight response. And get this, the rhythmic, repetitive nature of the dhikr has this amazingly calming effect on the amygdala. It basically turns down the volume on that alarm. And the results? You become less emotionally reactive and find you have a lot more patience when things get stressful. Then there's the hippocampus. That's your brain's hub for memory and learning. And this is where a practice like tafakkur, or contemplation, really shines. By getting into deep reflection or memorization, you are directly stimulating this region. So at the exact same moment you're having a deep spiritual insight, you're also giving your brain's cognitive performance a real tangible boost. So what does all of this lead to? It leads to something incredible called neuroplasticity. That's the brain's amazing ability to physically reorganize itself by forming new connections. With meditation, you are actively carving out new neural pathways for things like calm, focus, and awareness, which makes those states your new default setting, instead of something you have to constantly struggle to find. And we're not just talking about changing pathways, we're talking about actual physical growth. Studies on long-term meditation show that it can increase the volume of gray matter in the brain, and specifically in areas that are linked to self-awareness, to memory, and to compassion. Your brain is literally becoming denser in the very regions that support all these positive qualities. It's amazing. And we can actually see these changes happening in real time. EEG studies show this fascinating shift in brainwaves during these practices. You get an increase in what are called alpha waves. Those are associated with relaxation. And you get balanced beta waves, which are linked to focused alertness. So you get to be relaxed and focused at the same time. It's that perfect state of calm, relaxed alertness that so many of us are looking for. Now, these benefits aren't just stuck inside your head. Oh no, these changes create a powerful ripple effect that flows through your entire body, leading to a calmer physical state and, of course, a much clearer mind. You see, our bodies are pretty much always toggling between two different states. On one side, you have that fight or flight response, which is fueled by the stress hormone cortisol and keeps us on high alert. But then there's the rest and digest state. Islamic meditation is an incredibly powerful tool for actively shifting your body out of that constant stress mode and into what scientists call the relaxation response. And a really cool measurable result of this shift is an improvement in your heart rate variability, or HRV.
Now, this is a key scientific marker of your cardiovascular health and your body's ability to bounce back from stress. The higher your HRV, the more resilient you are. And guess what? Studies show that practices like Dhikr directly increase it.
And the psychological benefits, they are just as profound. In the research, people report everything from higher self-acceptance and clearer life goals to way less anxiety. It's even been associated with protecting against depression and getting better, more restorative sleep. The impact really is across the board. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do you actually make it practical? How can you start bringing these powerful, research-backed techniques into your own life? Well, it's probably simpler than you think. So here's a super simple routine that's totally aligned with all the research we've been talking about. First, try setting aside just 5 minutes for Dhikr in the morning and evening. The key is just focusing on being present. Second, during prayer or salah, bring a mindful attention to every single word and every movement. And third, if you use prayer beads or tasbih, don't just rush through it. Let the meaning of each phrase really sink in. Remember, consistency is way more important than how long you do it for. And that really brings us to our final thought here. The science is becoming so clear. These practices strengthen your brain and they calm your body. They're literally bridging the gap between spiritual well-being and neurological health. So the real question to leave you with is this: what could you truly achieve if your mind and your soul were working together in perfect harmony?